User joined your channel.
Sprinkles.
Hello, Wash. Hot dogs are good.
What?
Hot dogs are good.
Jay, hot dogs?
I'm having a foot-long chili cheese dog.
I just ate some beans and franks.
Ooh.
Yes, it's very exciting.
And I have soda.
Yeah, I'm giving up soda.
Aww. I've tried that.
I've done it a couple times, but I think I'll do it for good this time.
It's 6 o'clock. Where is everyone?
They're all up there.
Not streaming.
I will get them. Hey, if everybody else in the channel is streaming, I need to make a statement.
Football is streaming, but he's not talking.
Well, look under the bottom football stream.
Well, what is a virtual audio cable?
Yeah.
Running through a different sound source, but I'm still here to listen. That's why I got one down here. That's just the audio recording, but
So with the virtual audio cable, do you just imagine there's a cable?
that's what you actually install.
I know. Nice joke.
So, hey, some people don't know what it is.
I do.
Football, question for you. Go up there and get them down here.
Tell him it's 6 o'clock, or make a Steam notification.
User left your channel.
That usually works.
It's now 6:01. I was actually reading through the beginning again.
User joined your channel. User joined your channel. User joined your channel. User joined your
Okay,
channel.
President.
Oh, everybody comes for
We
football.
be nicer to each other around here, so
Under
User
Soviet
joined your channel.
I'm the
idiot. Bandit, you know what to do. Play it. What an idiot.
Thank you, man.
I have a question to make. I haven't read it yet, and I'm trying to figure out if I'm supposed to read the preface or the...
Preface.
That's okay. It's only 2 pages.
Only 2 pages. It was like 5 pages.
It's got to be the preface. There's no other... Okay.
Well, in my book, it was 5 pages, and Lady Youngers, so it was 2 pages. So it's pretty short. That's okay. I wasn't. This is gonna be pretty quick tonight. I just want to give you guys kind of an overview of what we'll be looking at and what to look for when you read it.
In my book, it's 4 pages.
Do you want this recorded, or?
Yeah.
You can. Go for it.
Yeah, that's pretty easy to do. I'm just making sure.
Yes, please.
I'm gonna forcibly
Disable.
bring Wing and Scribe in here.
Andres, I have a question that someone told me.
User was moved to your channel.
Yeah.
You were the one that sent out the books via email?
Frankles, there's one in
Yes.
your inbox.
That's what I mean. I didn't open it yet, so can you send it to someone else so it doesn't go to waste? Because I ordered one off of Amazon.
Well, you have a Kindle version too. Happy birthday.
That was not me who did that one.
Oh.
Yeah, I sent that one, Sprinkles. I have you on the list because of the first time you requested it.
Oh.
I think when you open it up, you can actually refuse it and send it back.
Sure.
Okay.
There you go.
Heck yeah.
You're welcome.
I will say, the book giveaway, the Christmas book giveaway went far smoother this year with Kindle books. That really decomplicates things.
Hey.
You don't even have to have an address.
I know. Makes it hard to stalk people, though. Okay, so
Nah, you just live outside of Kroger.
we will open up with prayer, give kind of a brief overview, and then get out of here. It shouldn't take too long tonight. This is gonna be quicker than usual. I just kind of wanted to set up the study because, and Lady Youngerth says that this was an experience that she had not shared when she read this book the first time. But the first time I read this book, I missed out on about the first third because I was trying to figure out what was happening and getting very confused. And then when I just kind of went with it, I started actually getting intent out of it. So I'm trying to avoid having you guys have that same experience and just be able to enjoy the book from start to finish. But that could have been just me and to overly analyze it too early. So we will avoid having you have that experience tonight by doing a brief kind of overview here. So let's start with prayer. Page through my notebook to find a page at here. Okay. Who has prayer requests? Weighing it. Or praises.
Well, simultaneously, same thing. Praise for all the stuff that I delineated to Longearth. It's a long story, so I won't regale all you guys yet in the interest of time. But God was awesome today, so I will express that to you later if you're interested. But prayers for this lady that Winged Feet knows in their progression through with that, and for me as well, as I pray for God to bring this person to me, whomever they may be. But yeah, both ways. Praise and prayer is awesome, but there's still a lot to do.
Got it. What else? Nice, Bandit. Sorry, I'm jotting stuff down. Alright. Do you have something else, Megan? I'm going to assume not. Got him up his light orange, because he can. It's his birthday. Alright. He didn't even react to me on that.
I don't think he's here.
Alright, I think I got everybody. Let's take these before the Lord. Dear Heavenly Father, thank you for this opportunity we have to come together and start going over this book by Lewis. Pray this will be a good study. Help this to be a study that is humbling for us, Father, and draws us closer to you. I pray that you will help Winged Feet's friend as he is drawn closer to you. I pray that just thank you for showing your power in this situation today with Winged Scribe, for the encouragement that was able to give him and Winged Feet. Thank you that the Shadajling is healthy. I pray that that the rest of the pregnancy will go smoothly, that she'll be able to grow into a great servant of yours, Father. I pray that you will help Bandit as he gets ready to purchase a house here in the next year. Help him to continue to get his finances in good shape here, and I just thank you for that. Give him wisdom and guidance as he moves into that time of life. Pray that you will comfort Bob and help him during this rough time that he is having. Also, give Wash help with his finances and just bring him out of this dark chapter that he's in. I ask all these things in Jesus' name. Amen.
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 All right. So, first of all, the title of this book, The Great Divorce, does not seem like two words that we put together very often. Why is it The Great Divorce?
What an idiot.
Whoops.
Nice job, football.
Well-timed soundboard.
Disable
Started
hotkeys.
streaming that.
Disable hotkeys.
For those watching this, I'm sorry for what just happened.
Oh man. Oh wow.
Freaking
What
idiot.
a great open for the.
This is gonna be an awesome study.
Oh yeah.
Oh.
What was the question even? I don't even know.
So the question, to which that was a great answer, if I can compose myself now, was why is this book called the Great Divorce? Because those are two words that we don't hear often together. Why not the Great Marriage? Why the Great Divorce?
Because somebody else. Wow, orange lights. I'm sorry.
Pull it together, Lady Youngerth. All right.
Take it, go.
Winged Scribe's light was orange. From
Oh,
Yeah,
sorry.
Scribe had it first.
No, mine was.
Obligatorily call on him first.
No, mine was false.
Okay, well, fake news. Go ahead, Watch.
It's about. It seemed to me as the divorce between heaven and hell. Well, between heaven and earth. Kind of heaven and hell, but then earth is also hell, kind of thing.
Perhaps, yeah. And to be fair, it's a tough question to ask, with only having you guys read the prologue or introduction or whatever it was called. Kessa and Lady Youngerth both had the lights orange, or tried to have the lights orange at one point. Go ahead, Kessa, and then Lady Youngerth.
Well, it's the great divorce between
Microphone
heaven and
muted.
hell, in my opinion. But yeah, the great separation.
Microphone activated.
I promise I will learn to use the lights.
We believe in you.
I blame Mongreth.
You right-click your name, then click Channel Commander.
Couldn't you set her up a hotkey? Seriously.
Yeah, we saw how well that worked for Bandit.
I didn't say a soundboard. I said a hotkey.
Okay. Yeah, and even further than that, if you look at the original copy, which I don't have in front of me, but if you open to the title page, most copies will have on there a quote from George MacDonald. That was a quote that Lewis had the editor add. No, there is no escape. There is no heaven with a little hell in it. No plan to retain this or that of the devil in our hearts or our pockets. Our outside must go every hair and feather. So it is, of course, even from that, the separation of heaven and hell. Also the separation of good and evil. There is no yin and yang and some good in some evil. No balance in the force. There's going to be a day where there is everything and everyone is going to fall in one of two camps, and you can no longer mix the two, and that will be the great divorce. So, instead of trying to marry the two and bring balance like a Jedi, Lewis's case is that we should be separating the two and choosing sides. Every decision is a choice of what side you're going to be on. All right. That's kind of like the main point of the book. And that's also what Lewis states in the preface as well. That's what it's called. I have the book right in front of me. I could just open it. In his preface, he says, "I do not think that all who choose wrong roads perish, but that their rescue consists in being put back on the right road. Some can be put right, but only by going back till you find the error, and working it afresh from that point, never by going on. Evil can be undone, but it cannot develop into good. Time does not heal it. The spell must be unwound bit by bit with backwards mutters of dissevering power, or else not. It is still either or. If we insist on keeping hell, or even earth, we shall not see heaven. If we accept heaven, we shall not be able to retain even the smallest and most intimate souvenir of hell."
Don't you just love the way Lewis talks?
And we will, that is a theme that comes up many times throughout the book, as we will see. Yeah, we'll be sure to, much to Wing and Mi's pleasure, we'll be sure to read large swaths of the book out loud, so we can get some great Lewis quotes going here. Yeah. So, just so that you guys don't get confused, well, first of all, just so I get an idea of where we're all coming from, who here has read the book? Turn your light orange if you have read the book in its entirety before. Interesting. Scribe, you haven't?
I have not. It is one of the titles of Lewis I have not read.
Oh, you are in for a treat, my friend. All right.
It's Lewis. I already know that.
So, on the timeline of Lewis, this is one of his earlier to middle earlier books, written in 1945. So, at the end of World War II. It is a book that not very many people have read, I would say. Probably not one of his better known books like the Chronicles of Narnia or the Space Trilogy. But it is definitely one of my favorite books of his. And it is also one of Timothy Keller's favorite books. Timothy Keller references it a lot in his commentaries. It is a fiction piece, but it is, I would say, instructive fiction. Very much in the theme of like a Rod Serling Twilight Zone episode. I'm going to, without giving spoilers, kind of give an overview of just the sequence of events here, without giving spoilers. The reason for this is, like I said, the first time I read this book was back in college. It was, and for some reason, I missed out in the first third of the book, really, the value of it, because I was trying to figure out exactly what was going on in the plot and the setting, and figure out where the author was, what was happening. The important thing isn't exactly the setting or how the plot is progressing. The important thing is the dialogues and the interactions between the characters. So just kind of, if you start getting confused in the first two chapters, just kind of hang with it, go with it. It's designed to be a bit disorientating, or is intended to be a bit disorientating. The first two chapters, kind of like a Twilight Zone episode. So approach it more like Twilight Zone and less like Chronicles of Narnia. There is, in kind of the beginning, there is the author comes into a street corner and begins waiting for a bus. Okay, this is a bus that goes from a gray town to what will become known as the real country. The people on the bus are going to have a series of scenes of people meeting them from real country when they get to real country. Then they have the option of either staying in real country or going back on the bus back to the gray town. Every character on the bus has an opportunity to enter the real country, but they all must give something up. Every one of them, except for one person, meets someone from their past at the in the real country, who is there to instruct them and tell them how to enter and to draw them farther into the country. The person who is speaking, so Lewis's character, because Lewis plays the character, he writes it in first person in the book, also has someone from his past who's going to meet him. This is a book kind of in the theme of Dante's Inferno. So there are people, these people in the gray and real countries are people who Lewis has written into the afterlife. Perhaps heaven and hell, perhaps not. We'll talk a little bit more about that next week. But kind of the temporary equivalents of heaven and hell, which is always kind of interesting, right? Because you look at these and you go, okay, this must be people from Lewis's life to an extent, because a couple of them are reoccurring characters who appear in other works of his, which makes me kind of think that they're people that he knew. But it creates an interesting exercise for an author to have to write people into hell. Dante in Dante's Inferno did this with many people that he knew, many people in history, wrote them to different levels of hell. And it kind of is one of those things that make you kind of God. Well, Lewis kind of sidesteps it by writing himself into hell as well. So he's one of the characters who needs redemption, which is interesting. So, couple things that I want us to be thinking about when we read this. The first is, if the gray town is the equivalent of hell, what kind of people do we expect to find in the gray town? What kind of environment do we expect hell or the gray town to be? Then with each one of the people from Greytown, as they have an opportunity to enter the real country, what is holding this person back? And who are they speaking to? And then one final question, look at with each one too. Is this something that could be holding me back as well, if I were put in the same situation as this character? And that, I think, is the really powerful part about this book. The part where when I started asking that question with each interaction, started really impacting me. I would say my bit of advice to you guys is don't get too caught up in the setting. Don't get too caught up in the timeline. Like I said, just like I did the first time, just kind of go with the dialogue and look at each character as this character is being presented a choice. That is really all I had. Except we could talk about, I wrote down as an option, we could talk about kind of what we would expect to find in these characters, and then see if that lines up with what we will find. So what would you expect to find in these characters who are condemned or have chosen Greytown instead of heaven? It's speculative, so there's no right or wrong answer, because, well, I mean, it's not speculative for Kessa and Lady Younger because they've read it. So for those who haven't read it, what would you expect to find?
Possibly that they think they're good people.
Ooh. Yeah, that could be. We'll have to see. Anything else? The ones who are in the gray town or in hell, if you will. Those are the characters we're talking about. What kind of characters would we expect to find in there? Wash says ones who think that they're good people. Certainly could be. We'll find out in the coming weeks. I'll give you guys the answer that I would have given going into this before I read it. I just come off reading Dante's Inferno, I think this is a far superior book, by the way. Going into this book. I expected to find some of the some of the same characters. You know, the usual suspects, if you will, the murderers, the adulterers, the homosexuals, the liars, the corrupt officials, the Pharisees, those people. Those are the ones I expected to find going into this. So, whether that you guys are on the same page as me or not, that's kind of what I was at going into this. But you guys knowing Lewis might have other ideas too. Underappreciation, misunderstood. Perhaps, yeah, we'll see. That's actually, yeah, we'll see on that. That's interesting.
Actually, that's pretty sharp.
Yeah. Yeah, that is. We will definitely come back to that in a week or two. All right. That is all I had for this week. Like I said, pretty short. Next week, if you guys could read chapters 1 and 2, it's short only in my copy, 17 pages. We're going to, for the first 2 weeks, do 2 chapters a week because they're really short chapters, but there's good stuff in there. Yeah, I've already read the first 5 chapters just in preparation for this today, so I really like this book. It is probably, to be honest, one of the top 10 books that have influenced my theology. All right, so same place next week, chapters 1 and 2. Winged, are you here?
Yep.
Do you want to take next week? Or do you want me to take next week?
I think I can take next week.
Okay.
So long as I actually read the book.
Wait. Also, on that same note, do you have study this week? The Bible study?
I thought so. You
Okay.
taught on last Thursday, so I thought it was me, but
Sounds good.
We were starting Revelation, right?
Yeah. I've actually got a retraction due on a comment I made in the last study, but I'll put it in the forums.
Uh-oh.
You got the Bible wrong.
Well, I got a statement wrong, yeah.
Oh, I thought he was going to take back the part about civil to each other during agreements.
Not to plus what an idiot on YouTube.
War!
It's gonna be awesome.